Got my socks with my sandals. Sinead has been giving me non-stop crap for that. Good morning. Welcome to this week's video. So this week I got a little bit of a calf twinge going on. Nothing too serious, but definitely something worth listening to, and that's why I want to talk about listening to your body in this week's video. Something I think that most runners really aren't very good at, if I had to say. I think runners a lot of times are very type A, very smart as a group, very, very intelligent, but at the same time can be a little bit type A and almost not so good at just kind of like feeling your body, listening to your body. I think that probably the era of, GPS watches, so much like fitness trackers, data, everything is probably not a huge help to that. Something we see at Runners Connect all the time to kind of illustrate this example is we'll get people who will say like, what's my easy pace? What should my easy pace be? And we're just like, dude, it should be easy. It sounds so obvious to me, but I get where in an era of just so much data, that can be kind of a difficult concept for people to understand. Same thing with like I think Garmin has a big thing right now where it's like, you're ready for this or you're not ready for this. And it's like, dude, just listen to your body. If our body talks to us, if only we listen, right? So with what I've got going on with my calf right now, I'm listening to it. I'm saying, okay, I'm not 20. This isn't 22-year-old Michael who, an injury would pop up and I'd be like, well, I got this race around the corner, so I can't afford to take time off. I can't afford to miss training, whatever. 32-year-old Michael says, no, we are going to be smart about this. I'm going to get on the bike. I'm going to do some cross training. I'm going to get back on some of like the PT routines, like some of the rehab stuff that I used to do for my calves, my lower legs. I've had chronic lower leg problems for my whole running career. So it's something I know really well and I know that I need to be on top of. But I'm telling you, listening to your body, if you do it right, it can be an absolute game changer, and if you don't do it, it can be absolutely detrimental. So in this video, I'm gonna share some tips along with kind of what I'm doing right now to help you guys figure out how to listen to your body, get better at it, and just become more in tune with what's going on with yourself. So in terms of what I'm doing right away for my calf, number one, stop running. I'm gonna stop running, and this is something that so many runners need to learn their lesson with. Running through an injury, and I don't mean, there's a difference between pain of I'm not fit enough or this workout is just really hard. Obviously a huge difference between that and my calf is about to blow up. That's obviously a huge difference. So you gotta stop running. Running through an injury doesn't make you a badass, doesn't make you cool, it just makes you a moron ultimately. So that's number one. But at the same time, you also don't want to, and this is something I've had to learn as well, you don't wanna just like wallow and do absolutely nothing. You don't wanna just say, oh, my whatever hurts, oh man, there's nothing I can do. Man, there are resources everywhere online nowadays on how to get through an injury. Obviously you could go to a physical therapist or something, but really there's so many different resources, there's so many ways to learn of how to do this that there's no excuse to just sit there and kind of wallow. So this is part of listening to your body as well, because your body is telling you something is going on. With me, with my calf, my body's saying, hey, something's going on. Maybe we started a little too strong. Maybe you need to get, you need to get back to some of your routines, which is what I'll talk about in a minute. But that's your body talking to you. An injury is your body talking to you. Inflammation is your body talking to you. Fatigue is your body talking to you. All of this stuff is our body sending us the signals that we then need to take and do the right thing with. So again, I'm gonna stop running. I'm sticking to the bike, getting some great workouts on that, so I'm not concerned about that at all. In terms of rehab, thankfully, I know my body pretty well. I know, like, I've had enough lower leg problems in the past to know what I need to do to get better. For me, it comes down to lower leg strength and stability, number one, which is obviously, that's obvious, I guess, in terms of if you have a calf injury or Achilles injury or whatever, obviously there's a lower leg, instability or weakness or whatever going on, but also it stems from the hips as well. I think that that's probably a very commonly overlooked thing. Achilles tendonitis, for instance, is one of the most common running injuries there is. Not many people look at their hip strength and mobility when it comes to something like a lower leg injury like that. Very, very, very important. So my routine, I've got the hips and glutes, basically just some activation mobility that I do. That's a really, really great routine. Eccentric heel drops, which are a must for anybody with any sort of lower leg issues. Basically just like lowering the heel, eccentrically loading. It's funny, I always say eccentric, but my PT says eccentric. Anyway, loading that heel so that it's similar to the running motion. That's an important one. Some band walks, which are just a really great way to, again, strengthen the hips, strengthen the glutes. Balance exercises, which is something that I think I like to try to add in, not just in terms of like while I'm doing my rehab or prehab, but just in general. Like, good example is like while you're brushing your teeth. Great time to do something like that. Knee and toe pointers, that's just, again, eccentric loading, working on that stability, etc. And then last thing I'm adding in, just to kind of play around with, that I've never really done a lot of before, is jump rope. I think jumping rope is an incredible way to build lower leg strength. It's kind of like, it's something that we kind of practice in a lot of drills anyway. It's very similar to that motion, but it's very continuous and just really works on those calves, works on those lower legs. So that's something I'm going to try to add in as well. But just taking care of it, listening to the body, and, doing it right. All right, a couple other tips in terms of listening to your body, being smart. Number one would be feel, don't think. And I know that sounds kind of weird because, like I said at the beginning of this video, in an era of so much data, so much available to us in terms of reading what's going on with our body, I think because of so much of that, I think we've almost gotten away from actually feeling what's going on with our body. At some point, I say this is, I don't have it on right now, I was just lifting, but I got an Oura ring for Christmas. Sinead gave me an Oura ring for Christmas. I think that thing is awesome. I think it's super cool to be able to read your sleep and really see what's going on. At the same time though, do you need a ring to tell you that you got a good night's sleep? You know what I mean? When you wake up, you pretty much know if you got a good night's sleep. Throughout the day, throughout a week, you pretty much know if you got a good night's sleep. Feel, don't just think. If you feel like you're overtraining, you feel like maybe you're getting to the point where an injury might come on, that's, use that gut instinct. Don't wait for Garmin to tell you that. Don't wait for the Oura ring to tell you that. Don't wait for something else to tell you that you're potentially overtraining. Feel it. Don't just think about it. A second tip would be build in down weeks in your training. This is more like really specific to running and to endurance training. I love building in down weeks. It's something big we do at Runners Connect. It's something Ben Thomas, my former coach, used to do with us. We would build in down weeks. What a down week is like so let's say maybe you do like a 2 weeks high, 1 week low, or 2 weeks on, 1 week down, something like that. Those 2 weeks that are high are tough, a little bit higher volume, higher intensity. That down week that you build in is going to be lower volume, lower intensity, and allow your body to absorb all the hard training you've done and better recover. The reason I love building in down weeks is because it kind of like gets out ahead of your mind. It doesn't allow you to get past that point. Once we get past that redlining point, whether that be from an overtraining standpoint, fatigue standpoint, or an injury standpoint, as you guys know, you're watching this, you're like, yeah, I get that. It's hard to come back. My calf started giving me issues on Monday. If I had run throughout this week, today is what is today, Friday? Sometimes I forget. If I had run throughout this week, I would have gotten past that point where I would have really strained my calf. Not just been a little bit tender, I would have strained it. That's hard to come back from. But on Monday, where I just felt a little twinge, that I can come back from. It's already feeling way better. That was on Monday, today's Friday, already feeling way better. Same thing with overtraining. Once you get to that point where you're really going past, hard overtraining, that's tough to recover from. That's tough to get back from. It might even take months at that point. But if you get to that point where you're like, I'm just feeling a little tired, not quite keeping up with the recovery from the workouts, that's like being preemptive. But with us being so type A, so we want to work hard, we want to get better, building in down weeks is a great way to kind of like get out ahead of that and don't allow yourself to overtrain. Don't allow yourself to train to the point where you're going to get injured, or at least build in like a fail safe to get ahead of that. And really the last tip is just train smart, guys. Train smart. I'm not gonna tell you to train smart, not hard, because guess what? You gotta train hard. If you want anything in this life, you gotta work hard for it. Running is no different. You gotta train hard. But at the same time, train smart, Don't train like a dummy. We have so many people in the running world who, I said this at the beginning of the run, talking about like easy pace, who don't understand that running easy means running easy. This isn't a Gatorade commercial, man. It's not 110% all the time. Running, endurance, marathoning, mile, whatever, even if you're a middle distance runner, it's about time. It's about quantity as much as it is about quality, okay? And to do that, a lot of it has to be lower intensity. You gotta recover. You gotta, be able to rest your body and absorb all the training that you're doing. Train smart. So that's all to say, feel, don't just think. Build in some down weeks, build in rest and recovery, and just train smart. It's gonna come in handy, I promise you that.